Thank you very much to all the kind words you have said about me. I don't think I deserve them. But let me say something that comes deep from my heart. If I were to ask to history to receive a prize on freedom, I would like to have it given by this collective assembly of people here, which is the friends in Poland and friends from the United States. The friends in Poland, I don't think really that if I have to make a short CV of my life, I will put in the first line Poland. One day I will let you know what was the difficulties of enlarging NATO. But it was so clear that it had to be done. It's so obvious that it had to be done. And we were so few people, but important people, that were determined to do it, that it was done. And I want to share with you, the Polish friends, that for me was a great pleasure, a great honor. We spent nights and nights and nights doing military analysis, political analysis, I don't know how many things we did. But at the end of the day, it was obvious that it had to be done. And for me, it was a great pleasure, a great honor. And what the two people that have spoken about what I did, which was not very important, but it was significant. I have to tell them that it really, I have it down in my heart forever. I remember one day that I will never forget, sentimentally. I was walking in your capital, in Warsaw, and you know the park with the Chopin images there. And on Saturdays, on Sundays, the piano sounds and people listen. And it was a moment that I was walking with my family, because I wanted to bring my family, my wife and my two kids, and the music stopped. And I couldn't understand why the music stopped. And apparently somebody recognized that I was there. And for me, it was so fantastic, that sentiment of complicity of what was my life, my family life, and the collective life of your country represented in that wonderful park, in what on Saturdays and Sundays Chopin is played. My heart is so close to your hearts. There was not only NATO, it was later on the European Union. I can tell you that I did my best, and it was not easy either. And then we have what Alexander has said, our cooperation, very profound cooperation, and long nights with snow in Kiev, in which I think we did one of the most important things that it has been done in order to change something that was not fair, and diplomatically, without any violence, it was changed. And it was done, repeated, and do it rightly. And that is a very fundamental thing that we believe in diplomacy. We believe in how things have to be done peacefully. This is the values of Europe. It was done. Then history, I don't know what I will say about that, because it's true that the orange was not perfect at the end. But in any case, it was a fundamental change that I am very proud to have it done in cooperation, so close cooperation with your country. But we are not here to come about the past. The past is beautiful. because we look at from the present. The present is very important to look at it, and then the future. Let me say a word about the present. The present, talking to Polish friends, is very spectacular. You have done in the present times something that it was really, you didn't believe it, and many others didn't believe it will be true. In a very deep crisis, economic crisis, members of the European Union you are doing a fantastic example of what can be done. You are overcoming the difficulties in a fantastic manner. You are giving a lesson to countries that were part of the, I don't want to call the old Europe because this is a terminology I detest, but to Europe, which is very, very impressive. So you have to be proud of what you have done, and I would like you to be really proud. And somebody which is a friend of yours tells you that you should be proud. And you are not proud, you make a mistake. You should be proud of what has been done. You are an example of what can be done in a difficult circumstances, in the most difficult economic crisis that we have lived, how you have handled it, how you are overcoming the difficulties, and how you are being an example to many other countries in the European Union. But if we look to the future, I think we are in a very profound difficulty, because not only the economic crisis, it's a very fundamental transfer of power in the world. The Atlantic world is moving to the Pacific, and we have to learn, and we have to get together, Americans and Europeans, how to maintain the values, the principles, the objectives that the Atlantic Alliance, or the Transatlantic Alliance has to define. And I think that this is something in which Poland can play a very important role. A very important role because you are one of the most important countries of Europe. You are on the level of 40 million people in the big countries. You have the energy, you have the determination, you have the will to move on. And I want to tell you that together with other countries, and I would like to include mine, a country which is also on the 40 million people, that would like very much to hand in hand define what is going to be the future. And we need to get together, to talk together the Europeans and the Americans, to see that the future is a future in which our values, our principles, our objectives are not changed because of the emerging or re-emerging powers that may have different values, different principles, different objectives. We have to contribute to make a world in cooperation. I'm not asking about anything that has with young cooperation. Cooperation is the word. But we have to defend also what we are. And I think that is the challenge that we have in front of us. And I like to say that for me, to get an award which is called for freedom, to have it here in this city, with the tremendous history the city has. When I try to explain what Europe is, not many places come to my mind, but this is a city that comes to my mind because it's an example of what has been Europe, the changes in border. I remember talking to one, probably somebody that Professor Davis will remember. We said, the borders go through my house, that the wind, or like the wind. That has been Europe. This is not going to happen again. It's not going to happen again. And we will continue being together and fighting together so that the wind will be the wind, but the borders will not go with the wind. The people will stay, and all of us will be Europeans. And together with our American friends, we will be able to maintain a world of stability, peace, and maintaining some values, which are not very many, but some of them are fundamental. And one of them is what it says there. And I think it says freedom. Freedom is a fundamental value. Without that, very few things can be done. It can be done economically, it cannot be done politically, it cannot be done socially, it cannot be done culturally. And I was very happy today to have listened to Professor Davis, that his long books, thick books, some of them, I have read thanks to a Polish friend, which is not with us today, with this Professor Geremek, that taught me a lot in the many conversations that we had walking on the streets of Brussels. We have here also the President of the European Parliament. It's very impressive that we have today here with us the President of the Parliament of Europe, which happens to be from Poland and happens to be a dignified person, which is doing a very good job, putting the Parliament in the place that it corresponds to the Parliament to be. My dear friends, I like to tell you, just to not to be very long, I would like to spend hours talking to you because I love you, that the future, let me put it in a different manner. The leaders of the world, political, economical, etc., the fundamental task they have to do is to civilize the future. We have the obligation to make the future civilized and to make it and control it, to make it as soon as possible present, but civilized. And I think this is our job. And I think together the Americans and the Europeans will do it, and the Polish people, the Polish leadership, having a fundamental role in that job. My dear friends, I love you, and if it has not been noticed, let me say it again. I love you.